The massive Imperium ship appeared in Earth's orbit like a metallic moon, casting shadows over cities below as it hovered silently. Military forces worldwide went on high alert, but they could do little against a vessel that stretched 5 kilometers from end to end. Dr. Una Park stood with other scientists at Mission Control, watching the first alien transmission decode on screens. "This is happening," she whispered, her hands trembling slightly as she adjusted her glasses. For years, she had searched the stars for signs of life. Now the evidence hung in the sky, impossible to ignore. The aliens called themselves the Galactic Imperium. They requested a meeting with Earth's leaders at the United Nations headquarters in 3 days' time. Their message was polite, but left no room for refusal. World leaders scrambled to prepare. Markets plunged, then soared as panic gave way to excitement. Religious leaders issued statements ranging from warnings of doom to celebrations of cosmic brotherhood. When the day arrived, 5 Imperium representatives descended from their ship in a smaller craft that landed precisely on the UN grounds. They walked with perfect posture, their humanoid forms covered in a shimmering material that seemed both fabric and metal. Their skin ranged from deep blue to pale green, and their 4 eyes, arranged in a diamond pattern, took in everything with unnerving focus. High Minister Toho led the delegation. He stood nearly 7 feet tall, his voice deeper than any human's yet perfectly understandable through their translation devices. "People of Earth," he addressed the emergency session of the UN General Assembly. "You stand at the threshold of a new era. The Imperium brings order to the stars. We have guided thousands of species into prosperity and cosmic harmony." Screens around the chamber displayed images of stunning alien cities, space stations encircling distant planets, and beings of all shapes gathering in what appeared to be massive council chambers. "Earth has been monitored since your first radio signals. Your technological progress is impressive, if dangerously uncontrolled. Your social structures show promise but require guidance." President Jin of South Korea, serving as the temporary spokesperson, asked carefully, "What exactly does the Imperium offer Earth?" Tahoe smiled, a gesture his species had clearly practiced for this meeting. "Integration into the greatest civilization the galaxy has ever known. Access to technology centuries beyond your own. Medical advances that will end disease. Energy sources that will eliminate your dependence on fossil fuels. And most importantly, protection." "Protection from what?" asked President Jin. "From yourselves, primarily," Tahoe replied, "but also from less benevolent forces that exist in the darkness between stars." The Imperium delegation presented holographic displays of their offering: faster than light travel, planetary defense systems, and educational programs to bring humans up to standard. Each marvel drew gasps from the assembled leaders. Dr. Park, invited as a scientific advisor, studied the aliens carefully. Their technology was genuine and remarkable, but something in their presentation felt rehearsed, as if they had performed this exact scenario countless times before. During a brief recess, she approached the Russian ambassador. "They haven't mentioned the cost," she whispered. "Nobody gives away technology like this for free." When the session resumed, President Jin asked directly about terms and conditions. Tahoe's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "Wise to ask," he said. "The Imperium requires administrative oversight of developing worlds. A transitional government will be established, with Imperium advisors guiding key decisions for approximately 100 Earth years. Some resource sharing will be necessary. Cultural practices deemed harmful will be modified. These are standard protocols for all new member worlds." The chamber erupted in murmurs. President Jin raised his hand for silence. "And if Earth declines this offer?" The temperature in the room seemed to drop. Tahoe's posture stiffened. That would be unfortunate. Isolated worlds without Imperium protection often face dire circumstances. Pirates, resource raiders, or simply the harsh realities of cosmic evolution tend to eliminate such stubborn civilizations. We would be required to establish a quarantine perimeter around your solar system. For your own protection, of course. The threat was clear. Over the next 3 days, Earth's leaders debated behind closed doors. Military commanders confirmed they had no weapons capable of threatening the Imperium ship. Economists calculated the potential benefits of alien technology against the loss of self-governance. Religious and cultural leaders argued passionately about preserving human identity. Dr. Park and a team of scientists worked around the clock, analyzing everything the aliens had shown them. Their technology is real, she reported to the Emergency Council, but their historical displays contain inconsistencies. And I've noticed something else. Species shown in their harmonious federation appear strangely uniform in behavior, almost like they've been standardized. On the final day, Earth's representatives gathered again at the UN. The atmosphere was tense but determined. President Jin addressed High Minister Tato with unexpected confidence. "We thank the Galactic Imperium for its generous offer," he began. "Earth has considered your proposal carefully. We see great potential in peaceful exchange between our civilizations." Tahoe nodded, satisfaction evident in his posture. However, Jin continued, "After global consultation, Earth has decided to remain independent at this time." The Imperium delegates froze. Tahoe's upper eyes narrowed while his lower ones widened, an expression no human could interpret. "Perhaps I was unclear," Tahoe said, his voice losing its melodious quality. "Integration is not optional for developing worlds. It is the natural order of galactic civilization." Nevertheless, President Jin replied calmly, "Humanity chooses to develop at our own pace, making our own mistakes, and finding our own solutions. We welcome peaceful trade and cultural exchange as equals, but we cannot accept oversight." "This is highly irregular," Tahoe said. "No species has declined integration in over 3,000 years." Dr. Park stepped forward from the advisory section, unable to contain herself, perhaps because they weren't given a real choice. Tahoe's eyes all focused on her. "Your species shows concerning levels of individualism and unpredictability. These traits must be governed for the greater harmony." "These traits are what make us human," she replied. "And we intend to remain human." The Imperium delegation conferred among themselves in rapid clicks and whistles their translators didn't convert. When Tahoe addressed the assembly again, his tone had hardened. "Your decision is noted. The Imperium will initiate standard evaluation protocols to determine Earth's readiness for mandatory integration. Resistance would be unfortunate for all involved." As the Imperium representatives departed, Dr. Park approached President Jin. "What happens now?" she asked. Jin watched the alien shuttle rise toward their massive ship. "Now we prepare." They expected compliance because they've always received it. But humanity has survived by doing the unexpected, and we're not about to stop now. Around the world, people looked up at the alien ship with new understanding. The future remained uncertain, but Earth had taken its stand. Humanity would meet the stars on its own terms, or not at all. 3 smaller Imperium ships detached from the mothership 2 weeks after Earth's refusal. They landed at designated points around the globe: Beijing, New York, and Johannesburg. From each ship emerged 20 aliens in what they called observation teams. The Imperium announced this was standard procedure for worlds that needed further evaluation. Commander Ju stood at the entrance of South Korea's most advanced military base as a shuttle descended from the sky. She wore her formal uniform despite the summer heat, her posture rigid but her eyes alert. 6 months ago, she had been commanding routine patrols in the East China Sea. Now she was humanity's military liaison to potential invaders from another star system. "Remember," General Kim said quietly beside her, "show them only what's on the approved list. Nothing more." Ju nodded once. "Understood, sir." The shuttle doors opened with a soft hiss. Captain Hando of the Imperium Military Assessment Division stepped out, flanked by 2 assistants. Unlike High Minister Tahoe's diplomatic presentation, Captain Hando made no effort to appear friendly. His 4 eyes scanned the surroundings with cold calculation. "Commander Ju." She introduced herself with a small bow. "Welcome to Earth Defense Force Asia Command." Captain Hando. The alien replied without returning the gesture. Let us proceed efficiently. My evaluation must be thorough. As they walked through the base, Hando made notes on a translucent device strapped to his forearm. He showed particular interest in the command center, weapon systems, and communication arrays. Your projectile weapons are primitive, he remarked while examining a display of missiles. Kinetic munitions were abandoned by most species thousands of years ago. Juwu maintained her professional demeanor despite the insult. We use what works for our defense needs. Your defense needs will change dramatically once properly integrated into the Imperium, Hando said. These facilities will be repurposed for more beneficial uses. The tour continued with Hando growing increasingly dismissive. When they reached the aircraft hangar, he barely glanced at the latest stealth fighters. Atmospheric craft. He noted with a tone that might have been pity, still burning chemical fuels for propulsion. How do your people tolerate such inefficiency? Something in Juwu snapped. General Kim had been clear about the protocol, but her instincts told her something different was needed. The Imperium already viewed Earth as primitive. Perhaps it was time to adjust their perspective. Captain Hando, she said casually, would you like to see something not on the official tour? The alien's interest visibly peaked. All four eyes focused on her. Proceed. Juwu led him to a seemingly ordinary door at the back of the hangar. She pressed her palm to the scanner and entered a code. This section is usually restricted to top military officials. They descended 3 levels below ground into a dimly lit laboratory. Scientists in white coats looked up in surprise as Juwu entered with the alien. Commander, this area is. One began. Special clearance. Juwu interrupted. Continue your work. In the center of the lab stood a device like nothing the Imperium captain had seen before. A sphere of swirling energy hung suspended between 2 pylons, its color shifting from deep blue to violet. What is this? Hando demanded, his dismissive tone replaced by genuine curiosity. Localized gravity manipulation. Juwu explained simply. Still experimental. She nodded to a scientist who activated the system. A metal object placed near the sphere suddenly lifted, not floating but following a precise path around the energy ball. Directional gravity fields, she continued. Useful for defense, propulsion, and construction. Hando's device was recording frantically. This technology is not consistent with your development stage. Perhaps your assessment of our development was incomplete, Juwu suggested. She led him deeper into the facility. In another chamber, engineers worked around a shimmering wall of energy that rippled like water. Adaptive shield system, Juwu explained. It analyzes incoming threats and reconfigures to optimal defensive patterns. A technician demonstrated by firing a laser into the shield. The energy barrier momentarily absorbed the beam, then strengthened precisely where the impact occurred. Hando stepped closer, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. These technologies are not in our records of Earth capabilities. We keep some developments private, Juwu said simply. The final chamber contained a setup of crystalline structures connected by beams of light. 2 scientists monitored readings as information transferred between the crystals instantaneously. Quantum entanglement communication, Juwu explained. Undetectable, unhackable, and instantaneous regardless of distance. Hando was silent for a long moment. Your people developed these independently. Yes, Juwu replied. Human innovation has always been our greatest strength. As they returned to the surface, Hando seemed deep in thought. His previous condescension had vanished. Meanwhile, across the globe, other Imperium teams were making equally disturbing discoveries. Dr. Subin analyzed human brain scans in a Tokyo research facility, comparing them to every known species in the Imperium database. What she found troubled her deeply. She summoned her superior, Science Director Taman. Director, you must see this, she said, displaying neural pathway comparisons on a large screen. Human brains show connection patterns unlike anything in our records. Taman studied the images, explained the significance. Most species show predictable neural development. Subin continued. Brain structures evolve along established paths. We can predict responses, behaviors, development curves. But humans, she highlighted sections of the scan. Humans show chaotic neural branching that somehow produces higher function. A genetic anomaly, Taman suggested. That's what's most concerning. Subin replied. I've searched for evidence of genetic engineering in their history. There is none. This evolved naturally. She displayed more data. Their neural plasticity allows them to adapt to almost any condition. Their creativity emerges from these random connections. Their psychological resilience comes from multiple redundant systems that most species develop only through engineering. Taman's expression darkened. Unpredictable thought patterns, unplanned evolutionary paths, natural development of capabilities that should require guidance. He looked at Subin. Prepare a full report for High Command. Mark it urgent. That evening, Ju received a message from General Kim summoning her immediately. When she arrived at headquarters, she found him reviewing security footage of her tour with Captain Hando. You showed him restricted technologies, he said, his voice carefully neutral. Yes, sir. Against direct orders. Yes, sir. General Kim turned off the screen. The Imperium has requested to expand their evaluation period from 1 month to 6, and they've reassigned Captain Hando. Apparently, he's been promoted to their Strategic Assessment Division. Ju waited, uncertain if she faced punishment or praise. Whatever you did, General Kim continued, it's changed something in their approach. They're concerned. He almost smiled. Good work, Commander. As night fell across Earth, the Imperium mothership orbiting above went into high alert status. In the ship's central command, High Minister Tavo reviewed reports from all evaluation teams with growing concern. These humans, he said to his assembled advisors, are not what they appear to be. The evaluation period had just begun, but already the Imperium's assumptions about Earth were crumbling. Humanity, it seemed, was something the galaxy had not seen before, and the Imperium was not certain how to respond. The 6-month evaluation period came to an end on a crisp autumn day. Leaves fell from trees around the United Nations headquarters in New York as the Imperium delegation arrived for what they called a final disposition meeting. High Minister Tahoe himself had returned, leading a larger group of officials. Their expressions seemed graver than before, their movements more deliberate as they filed into the assembly hall. World leaders and military commanders from every nation sat waiting. President Hana of the Global Unity Council rose to greet them. She was a small woman with steel-gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. For 3 decades before becoming president, she had been her country's top diplomat, negotiating peace during the water wars. Now she faced her greatest challenge. The Imperium welcomes this opportunity to share our findings. Tahoe began without pleasantries. We have completed our standard evaluation protocols regarding Earth's readiness for integration. Holographic displays activated around the chamber, showing complex data streams and analysis graphics. The images shifted to show human brain scans, military installations, educational systems, and social structures. Earth presents an unusual case. Tahoe continued. Your technological development is uneven but accelerating at concerning rates. Your social structures show harmful levels of individualism. Most significantly, your neurological patterns exhibit dangerous unpredictability. The displays showed comparative brain scans between humans and other species. After careful consideration, the Imperium High Council has determined that standard integration is insufficient. Earth requires specialized intervention. The room grew silent as Tahoe revealed the Imperium's verdict. Option 1. Earth will undergo accelerated integration, including mandatory genetic modification programs to correct neural development patterns in future generations. This will bring human thought processes into alignment with galactic standards, ensuring stability and harmony. President Hana's expression remained neutral, but her knuckles whitened as she gripped the podium. Option 2, Tahoe continued, is planetary isolation. The Imperium will establish a permanent blockade around your solar system. No ships will enter or leave. Earth will remain cut off from interstellar civilization permanently. He spread his four-fingered hands. These are the only options available under Imperium protocols. You have 24 hours to choose. President Hana nodded slowly. The nations of Earth thank the Imperium for its thorough evaluation. We request a private meeting with your delegation in 6 hours to discuss specific implementation details. Tahoe seemed pleased by what he perceived as acceptance. Granted, we will prepare transition protocols. As the Imperium representatives filed out, urgent messages flew between world leaders. In a secure underground facility beneath the UN building, top military and scientific advisors gathered. They intend to change what makes us human, General Kim said, his voice tight with anger, or imprison us in our own solar system. They've shown their hand, President Hana replied. Now we show ours. She turned to her chief of staff. Is everything prepared? Yes, Madam President. All systems are on standby. 6 hours later, the Imperium delegation arrived at a secure conference room deep within the UN complex. They found only 7 humans waiting. President Hana, representatives from the world's major powers, and Dr. Yuna Park. Where are your implementation teams? Tahoe asked, noticing the small group. There has been a change of plans, President Hana replied. Please, be seated. Once the Imperium representatives had taken their places, hidden panels in the walls slid open, revealing advanced technology, unlike anything they had been shown before. A shimmering field of energy surrounded the conference table. What is the meaning of this? Tahoe demanded. This field isolates us from any communication with your ships, President Hana explained calmly. It also prevents any recording or transmission of what you're about to see. Dr. Park activated a holographic display in the center of the table. It showed a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy with thousands of tiny points of light representing Imperium worlds and installations. During your evaluation period, you studied us, she said. But we were also studying you. The display zoomed in to show an Imperium warship. Then it peeled back the ship's layers to reveal its internal systems in perfect detail. Your hyperspace drive technology is impressive, Dr. Park continued. But it has a fundamental vulnerability. Your ships remain partially connected to normal space during transit. The display shifted to show a weapon system unlike anything the Imperium had seen before, a device that seemed to bend reality around itself. This is a quantum entanglement disruptor, she explained. It can target your ships even in hyperspace, severing their connection to normal spacetime. The results would be unfortunate. Tahoe's 4 eyes widened in disbelief. Such technology is beyond your development stage. You've drastically underestimated us, President Hana said. Your evaluation teams were shown only what we wanted them to see. The display changed again, showing Earth surrounded by a translucent shell. We've developed planet-wide shield technology capable of withstanding your most powerful weapons, Dr. Park continued. Finally, the hologram showed something that made the Imperium representatives shift uncomfortably. Humanoid figures working alongside machines in perfect synchronization. Unlike other species you've encountered, Dr. Park said, we never replaced our artificial intelligence with biological labor. We evolved alongside our AI systems. They remain our partners, not our replacements. Tahoe's composure finally broke. These technologies would destabilize the entire galactic order. They cannot be permitted. President Hana leaned forward. We have no interest in destabilizing your empire, High Minister. We simply wish to remain independent. She activated another display, showing a sphere extending 20 light-years in all directions from Earth's sun. Here is our counter-proposal, she said. The Imperium will recognize Earth's sovereignty and this exclusion zone around our solar system. We will establish our own colonies within this region without interference. In return, we will not share our technological innovations with other species in the Imperium. Tahoe's eyes narrowed. You threaten the Imperium with destruction if we don't comply. Not at all, President Hanna replied. "We're simply declining your options and offering a third alternative that benefits us both. You maintain your galactic order. We maintain our independence and humanity." "And if we refuse?" one of the other Imperium officials asked. President Hanna's expression hardened. "Then we would be forced to demonstrate that these aren't merely theoretical capabilities." Silence filled the room as the Imperium delegation conferred among themselves in hushed tones. Finally, Taiho spoke. "Your proposal is unprecedented. It must be referred to the Imperium High Council for consideration." "Of course," President Hanna nodded. "We understand. You have 24 hours. As the Imperium representatives left the conference room, Dr. Park approached President Hanna. "Do you think they'll agree?" she asked quietly. "They'll try to call our bluff first," President Hanna replied. "We need to be ready to prove we're not bluffing." Above Earth, the massive Imperium mothership hummed with activity as Tahoe's urgent message reached the High Council. For the first time, in 12,000 years of expansion, the Imperium faced a primitive world that somehow possessed technologies that could threaten their dominance. The ultimatum had been delivered, but not by the Imperium as planned. Earth had turned the tables, and now the galaxy held its breath to see what would happen next. 23 hours after Earth presented its counteroffer, 3 massive Imperium warships emerged from hyperspace, taking positions around Earth. They were Dominance-class vessels, each 5 times larger than the original diplomatic ship. Their weapons ports opened in a clear display of power. In the Global Defense Command Center beneath Mount Cheon, President Hanna watched the ships appear on the tracking screens. General Kim stood beside her, his face grim. "They're positioning for orbital bombardment," he reported. "Standard Imperium formation for planetary subjugation." President Hanna nodded. "They've made their choice." She turned to Communications Director Taman. "Open a channel to High Minister Tahoe." Tahoe's face appeared on the main screen, his 4 eyes arranged in what humans had learned was an expression of stern authority. "Your ultimatum has been rejected," he announced without preamble. "The Imperium does not negotiate with developing worlds. You will surrender immediately and accept accelerated integration protocols." President Hanna met his gaze steadily. "We hoped for a peaceful resolution, but prepared for this response." She nodded to Dr. Park, who stood at a control station nearby. "Since you believe we are bluffing, a demonstration has become necessary." Dr. Park's fingers moved across her console. "Quantum virus deployment initiated," she announced. On the screens, nothing seemed to happen for several seconds. Then alarms began blaring in the background of Tahoe's transmission. His upper eyes widened in surprise as reports came to him from off-screen. The 3 Imperium warships suddenly powered down their weapons. Their external lights flickered. On radar displays, their energy signatures fluctuated wildly. "What have you done?" Tahoe demanded. "A simple quantum virus," President Hanna explained. "It's currently rewriting the command protocols in your warships. Nothing destructive. We're not monsters, but your vessels are no longer under your control." To prove her point, the 3 massive ships began to move, rearranging themselves into a triangle formation facing away from Earth. "Impossible," Tahoe whispered. "Our systems have quantum isolation barriers." "Had," Dr. Park corrected. "Your barriers were quite advanced, but they relied on predictable encryption patterns. Human-AI partnerships think differently than your systems expect." While this confrontation unfolded above Earth, another drama played out 40 light-years away on Nexus 7. An Imperium agricultural colony. The planet's simple spaceport was quiet except for regular supply shipments when a small, unremarkable cargo vessel requested landing clearance. "Special delivery for administrative complex," the ship's captain explained to port control. "Replacement parts for atmospheric processors." The ship landed without incident. 4 figures in standard Imperium maintenance uniforms unloaded crates and transported them to the colony's central communications hub. None of the local officials noticed anything unusual about the workers, despite the fact that they were humans led by Commander Juho of Earth's Special Operations Division. "Security is minimal," Juho whispered to his team, As they entered the communication center, they've never expected resistance. While two team members kept watch, Juho and technical specialist Minna quickly accessed the main communications array. "We have 5 minutes before the system logs our intrusion," Minna warned as her fingers flew across the alien interface. "That's 4 minutes more than we need," Juho replied, plugging the small device into the console. Across Nexus 7, every communication screen and public display suddenly changed. The agricultural workers, a mix of 6 different alien species, stopped their labor as images appeared of Earth's confrontation with the Imperium warships. "People of the Imperium," President Hana's voice rang out, automatically translated into 6 different languages. "We are humans from Earth. For thousands of years, the Imperium has told you that their rule brings order and that resistance is impossible. Today, we prove otherwise." The displays showed the disabled Imperium warships, then cut to images of human cities, art, and diverse cultures. "Humanity refuses integration because we value diversity, freedom, and self-determination, not just for ourselves, but for all sentient beings. You deserve the same rights." Back on Earth, Tahoe was frantically consulting with his commanders. "This transmission is being broadcast throughout the Vega sector. Shut it down." "We can't, sir," came the reply. "Our communication nodes are compromised." President Hana continued, her expression serious but calm. "But our demonstration is not complete. The Imperium believes they know the boundaries of what's possible. They're wrong." She nodded to someone off-screen. The holographic display in the command center changed to show star charts of nearby systems. 17 points of light began to glow. "Reveal colony network," President Hana ordered. Dr. Park entered commands, and suddenly new data appeared on the Imperium's own sensors. Where empty space had registered before, energy signatures now appeared on 17 different planets and systems surrounding Earth. "These are human colonies," President Hana explained to both Tahoe and the watching Imperium citizens. "Established over the past 15 years using faster-than-light technology your sensors couldn't detect." On the screen, Tahoe's composure finally shattered. "Impossible. Our sensors detect all forms of FTL travel." "All known forms," Dr. Park corrected. "We took a different approach." The data showed human outposts ranging from small research stations to thriving settlements with thousands of inhabitants. All had remained completely hidden from Imperium detection until this moment. "You've been within our territory for years." Tahoe's voice shook with a mixture of rage and disbelief. "We needed to understand our neighborhood," President Hana replied simply, "and to prepare contingencies." On countless Imperium worlds, beings of all species watched the unprecedented challenge to authority unfold. Some officials frantically tried to block the transmission, while others watched in stunned silence. "This demonstration should make our position clear," President Hana continued. "But in case any doubt remains," she gave another signal. Around Earth, previously invisible structures activated. A network of satellites and orbital platforms materialized as their cloaking systems deactivated. Energy began to flow between them, creating a visible web surrounding the planet. "Our planetary defense grid," she explained, "capable of generating energy signatures your own sensors confirm are beyond your most powerful weapons." The Imperium sensors registered the truth of her words as power readings went off their scales. Tahoe stared at the display for several long moments. When he spoke again, his voice had lost its commanding tone. "The High Council requests a temporary cessation of hostilities to reconsider your proposal." President Hana nodded once. "Agreed. We will restore control of your vessels as a gesture of good faith. The communication hub on Nexus 7 will remain under our control as insurance." As the transmission ended, General Kim turned to President Hana. "Do you think they'll actually negotiate now?" "They have no choice," she replied, watching the disabled Imperium warships slowly regain power. "We've just changed the balance of power in the galaxy. The question now is what they'll do about it." On 17 human colonies and countless Imperium worlds, A new reality was dawning. The supposedly invincible Imperium had been challenged, and humanity had proven itself a force the galaxy could no longer ignore. The Imperium's central governing planet, Magna, had never witnessed such chaos in its Grand Council chamber. 2,000 representatives from across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy gathered in emergency session. The massive room, designed with perfect acoustics to carry even whispers, now echoed with shouted arguments. Supreme Counselor Eogen struck his staff against the floor 3 times. The sound reverberated through the chamber, bringing temporary silence. "Order," he commanded. "The High Council will present its findings." At the center of the chamber, High Minister Tejo appeared haggard. For 3 weeks, the Imperium's top military, scientific, and political leaders had analyzed Earth's demonstration of power. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," Tejo began, "we face an unprecedented situation. The analysis is complete, and the facts are undeniable." He paused, visibly struggling with what he had to say next. "Earth's technological capabilities now match or exceed our own in several key areas." Gasps and murmurs spread through the chamber. "More concerning," Tejo continued, "their faster-than-light technology operates on principles unknown to our science. Their 17 colonies were established without detection by any of our sensor networks." A representative from the Vega sector stood. "Is it true they bypassed our quantum communication encryption as well?" "Yes," Tejo admitted. "Their quantum virus technology suggests a fundamental understanding of information structures that our scientists cannot explain." "How is this possible?" demanded another counselor. "They are primitives. They only achieved basic space travel in the last century." "That is precisely what makes them dangerous," said Science Director Hyun, stepping forward. "Human neural structures promote extreme innovation and unpredictable thinking patterns. They solve problems in ways we cannot anticipate." "And now," added Military Commander Jinsu, "they've transmitted evidence of their resistance to 36 of our subject worlds. Reports of civil unrest have tripled in the last week alone." Supreme Counselor Eogen's expression darkened. "What are our options?" "Military action is not viable," Commander Jinsu stated flatly. "Their defensive capabilities would ensure mutual destruction at best. At worst." He didn't finish the sentence. "Negotiation, then?" asked a counselor. "They demand complete sovereignty and a 20-light-year exclusion zone," Tejo replied. "If we agree, other worlds will seek similar terms. The Imperium's authority would crumble within decades." Silence fell over the chamber as the full implications became clear. For 12,000 years, the Imperium had expanded without serious challenge. Now they faced a choice between destructive conflict and the beginning of the end of their dominance. Supreme Counselor Eogen spoke carefully. "Perhaps there is a third option, one that preserves our standing while containing the threat." 3 days later, High Minister Tejo returned to Earth orbit aboard a single diplomatic vessel. From the United Nations headquarters, President Hana and her advisors watched the ship approach. "Only one ship this time," General Kim noted. "No weapons powered." "A good sign," President Hana replied. Tejo's message was brief. The Imperium had reached a decision. He requested permission to deliver it personally before the United Nations Assembly. When Tejo entered the UN chamber, the atmosphere was tense but hopeful. World leaders and billions watching via broadcast waited to hear whether the future held war or peace. "People of Earth," Tejo began, his voice more subdued than in previous appearances. "The Imperium Grand Council has deliberated on your proposal and reached a decision of historic significance." He activated a holographic display showing a sphere around Earth's solar system, exactly matching the 20-light-year exclusion zone humanity had demanded. "By unanimous decree, this region of space is now designated as a prohibited zone," Tejo announced. "No Imperium vessels will enter this territory. No Imperium citizens may travel to Earth or human colonies under penalty of citizenship revocation." President Hana's eyes narrowed. This seemed too easy. The official designation. Tahoe continued, cites protection of Imperium citizens from unpredictable evolutionary divergence. Medical studies suggest extended contact with human neural patterns could destabilize ordered thought processes in other species. Dr. Park, seated beside President Hana, barely suppressed a smile. "They're saving face," she whispered, making it sound like we're the dangerous ones to be avoided, not that they're backing down. President Hana stood. "The nations of Earth accept this designation, Minister Tahoe. We will respect the boundaries of Imperium space if you respect ours." Tahoe gave a stiff bow. "The matter is settled then. The Imperium wishes Earth no further contact or conflict." As Tahoe departed Earth for the final time, news of the decree spread across the galaxy. The official story, that humans were quarantined for the safety of the Imperium, satisfied most citizens, but on worlds where Earth's demonstration had been viewed, the truth was whispered. For the first time in 12,000 years, the Imperium had retreated. Earth had won its independence. 5 years passed. Earth and its colonies flourished without Imperium interference. The planetary defense grid expanded. Human faster-than-light ships established 4 more colonies within their recognized territory. Then, on the 5th anniversary of the decree, a single Earth vessel approached the Imperium's central diplomatic station near the boundary of human space. Unlike previous human ships, this one announced its presence openly. "Imperium Control, this is Earth Diplomatic Vessel Harmony requesting docking clearance. We carry Ambassador Minho with an official diplomatic delegation from the United Earth and colonies." The Imperium station's response was delayed by nearly an hour as officials frantically consulted with Magna. Finally, clearance granted. Limited access only. Ambassador Minho was a veteran diplomat who had helped negotiate peace during Earth's final regional conflicts. As he led his team aboard the Imperium station, he noted the mix of fear and curiosity in the aliens they passed. The station commander, a tall being named Doma, greeted them stiffly. The Imperium did not expect contact from Earth. The prohibited zone decree was meant to be permanent. The decree established boundaries. Minho replied with a smile. It didn't forbid diplomacy. He presented an ornate box containing Earth's formal proposal, an alliance between equals, trade agreements, cultural exchanges, and mutual defense pacts. Humanity has no interest in conquest, Minho explained as Doma reviewed the documents with obvious shock. We simply wish to join the galactic community as independent equals, and we believe other worlds should have the same opportunity. The Imperium Council will never agree to this, Doma said. Perhaps not immediately, Minho acknowledged. But the galaxy is changing. We've received unofficial communications from 32 species seeking guidance on achieving their own independence. Doma's expression confirmed what Earth had suspected. The impact of human resistance was still reverberating through the Imperium. Tell your council that we'll be opening an embassy here next month, Minho continued. Earth stands ready to help shape a new galactic order based on cooperation rather than submission. As the human delegation departed, Doma received an urgent message. Sensors had detected unauthorized visitors aboard the station during the human presence. A search revealed nothing, but security recordings showed several Imperium citizens from recently restless worlds in brief, private conversations with human staff. Seeds of change were being planted throughout the galaxy. That evening, Ambassador Minho contacted President Hana from his ship. Phase 1 complete, he reported. The Imperium believes we've simply made a bold diplomatic move. And our other objective? She asked. Commander Juvo's team made contact with all 17 resistance representatives. The information packages were delivered successfully. President Hana nodded with satisfaction. Then it has begun, not with war, but with ideas. Across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy, worlds that had lived under Imperium rule for thousands of years began to stir with new possibilities. Earth had shown that the impossible was possible. Independence was achievable. Freedom could be won without destruction. The age of Imperium dominance was ending. The age of human-inspired galactic freedom was just beginning. The end.